Hello guys and welcome to another video. Today we are doing our monthly fanfiction reading. So let's see what Wattpad has in store for us today. So today we are reading Percy Jackson's Sick Day. The cover of this fanfic is Annabeth taking care of a sick Percy, which is pretty cute. So I have high hopes for this one. I don't think this one's gonna be all that bad. So let's check it out. Chapter 1. When I woke up the next morning, I saw Annabeth, not Annabeth, and Grover standing there. Yeah, guys, what are you doing there? It's time for breakfast. Oh my god. This doesn't have quotations. How am I gonna know? How am I gonna know? I was excited that I might have found a good bad fanfic, but this is just bad fanfic, so pray for me. Okay, let's see. Yeah, guys, what are you doing here? It's time for breakfast, seaweed brain. Hey, don't look too good. Are you okay? Yeah, just a rough night, I guess. They just shrugged their shoulders, but still had a look of worry on their faces. Oh, it hurts me. Hey, relax, I am fine. Now get out, I need to get changed. They smiled and I laughed and left. I quickly got changed and started to get a headache. I mumbled. Don't tell them, don't tell them. I then finished getting dressed and started to feel lightheaded. I just tried to ignore it, but it was bad. But I just decided to. Gone with the day. When I got outside, Grover asked, "Are you sure, Percy? You really don't look good." "Yeah, I am fine." "Okay," said Annabeth. "Let's get to the main hall." I nodded, and when we were passing the beach next to the lake, I heard someone. "Oh, is Witzel Percy not feeling well?" What do you want, Clarice? "Oh, you know, teasing you and all." "Well, today is not a good day for it," I said. "Because you aren't feeling well?" she smirked. "No, because I'm really tired and got no sleep last night, okay?" "Oh, you poor Percy." Then she pushed me into the lake. I felt a little bit better. Then I got up out of the water, really wishing I could stay in it, and I saw Clarice gone. Grover ran to me and asked, "Are you okay, Percy?" "Yeah, I am fine." "Okay, well, let's go eat breakfast." I nodded, and when we got into the hall, we got our food and sat down. I was not hungry. I had no intention to eat at all, but I was really tired and decided to give my food to the gods, and when I finished, I sat back down and slowly closed my eyes. Do you think Percy's gonna die? Like, he closes his eyes in the dining hall and just, like, passes out? Honestly, this does raise an interesting question around Percy Jackson lore. Percy can use water to heal himself, but is that only like physical wounds, or can it be sickness? Can he cure himself of a fever, or like can he cure himself of COVID or some kind of other virus like that? I don't think we ever get the answer, but I would really want to know. So Rick Riordan, let me know, can Percy cure himself of COVID just by walking into the water? When I get to sleep, I was instantly woken up. I sat straight and saw Grover and Annabeth looking at me with worried faces. "What's wrong?" I asked with a cracked voice. "Percy, you're sick. Let's get you back to your cabin." "I'm fine, guys. I just told you I had a lot of trouble sleeping last night, that's all." "Well, your fever tells you otherwise." I asked. "You felt my forehead while I was asleep." "Yes, because we needed to know if you were sick or not, because you did not look well this morning." "Guys, I am fine, come on. It's time for sword training," he says as he's about to die. They looked at each other and shrugged. We then left and went to sword fighting territory. Okay, so Percy passed out in the dining hall. He has a high fever and then just like, well, he says he wants to go fight sword fighting, so there's nothing we can do to stop him. I then saw Carrion standing looking at the kids who were fighting. Then he looked towards our direction and walked to us. "Percy, can you give an example for these kids?" "Sure," I said in a cracked voice. He looked worried and I said, "I am fine, just trust me, okay?" Even though I felt horrible and felt like I was gonna puke. This is not going to end well. Okay, chapter 3. This is a weird pacing of chapters, but let's see how it ends. When I walked to the battle area, I almost fell down when I caught myself and kept on walking, like nothing was happening. Then Carrion said, "Welcome to your first sword training class. I have a special guest that can show you an example." Then he asked for someone to volunteer to help me. As soon as he finished, one student raised his arm and Chiron said, "Chase, nice of you to volunteer." Then he took out his spear and I uncapped Riptide. Then Chiron said, "Remember, I want a good clean fight, no blood." I nodded, and so did Chase. Oh, I thought Chase was Annabeth, and I thought he was like, oh, Annabeth, Chase. I would have liked to see that, that's sad. I nodded, and so did Chase when they started the fight. I instantly let go of Riptide when he knocked it out of my hand. Then he kicked me in the chest, and I fell. I tried getting up, but he just pushed his foot down on my chest, and I laid down. This guy, Chase, is really going for it. It's just a sword fight. Okay, good job, Chase. And now it's time for your next class. They left and I got out. That class was like 5 seconds long. I wish all my classes were like that. What happened, Percy? I did not sleep well last night. Okay, well, are you sick? No, I'm just tired, that's all. Then I moaned and held my stomach. The pain was unbearable in my head and stomach. He is getting his period. Why is he so reluctant to tell people that he's sick? I don't get it. I think Percy would tell people he's sick. He's just sick. He can just take a sick day. It's no big deal. I then heard Chiron say to Grover and Annabeth, take him back to the cabin. They said, okay, and picked me up when I fell after I moaned and held my stomach. We immediately made it to the cabin, and I was laid in my bed. I knew it, Percy. Why didn't you agree with us when you were sick? Because I really don't like people caring for me like this. Okay, get some rest. I will be returning later, said Grover. Annabeth just stayed quiet. I mumbled to let him know I said okay because my throat felt like sandpaper. So does mine after reading fanfiction out loud for so long. I feel seen by you, Percy. A little while later, I was woken up by Grover, who asked, how are you feeling? Like Kronos just barfed all hurt and pain on me. I said in a very quiet and cracked voice. You don't sound any better either here. Well, let me check your temperature. When he left, I started to fall asleep again until he had the thermometer and put it in my mouth. When I took it out, it read 103.2. Hey, Percy? I nodded. You have a really high temperature. We should ask your father if he has seen anything like this. I nodded, and then he brought out a drachma and put water on it, and then said, Poseidon, it showed a frame of my father sitting there, and when he looked at us, he asked, Percy, I think you have the rare disease only we can get. This is crazy. First of all, that's not how you contact a god. Second of all, contacting a god should not be this easy. Third of all, what? What is it? I asked. Well, it's seasickness. Not like when you get sick on the sea, but the sea is sick. How? I asked. Probably from all the oil spill or an object or trash was thrown in it. How can we fix it? Well, it looks like there was an airplane and a huge pile of trash dumped into the sea. We need to get that cleaned out. I nodded slightly and asked Grover, can you tell Annabeth to come here ASAP? Certainly. And he left there. My father said, let me appear, okay? I nodded and he disappeared, and so did the whole frame. Then he appeared in front of me and felt my forehead. It's very interesting to me that this author thought that Poseidon would be the one asking Percy for permission to appear in Poseidon's cabin. Yep, that definitely is sickness fever. I just moaned and he said, don't worry, things will get better, I promise. I smiled weakly and went to sleep. To give this author some credit, this concept is kind of cool. Like, Percy gets affected by the current condition of water around him. I like that. I once read, like a headcanon, that Percy's eyes are the color of the nearest mass of water. So if it's like he's near the Houston River and it's super muddy and gross, his eyes turn like muddy and brown. But if he's like near a beach that's very clean, it turns like sea green. I like that. So I like when people implement these kinds of things, but all in all, this fanfic is kind of silly. But let's keep reading. Let's find out how he solves his problem. I was awoken later by Annabeth saying, Percy, we have Chiron and some other campers making a machine to clean up the mess in the sea and heal you. Well, that's nice. I nodded very weakly and coughed very harshly. She patted my back and said, don't worry, this is almost done and you don't have to worry about it anymore. I nodded weakly and said, good, because I don't like feeling like this. I know, get some rest, okay? I nodded weakly and went to sleep. He's doing a whole lot of sleeping in this fanfiction. I was worried about Percy, so after Percy went to sleep, I went to Chiron and asked, who is this? Well, the point of view hasn't changed, but we're someone else. How long until it's ready? Why in a rush? Because of how sick and weak Percy feels. He just moans, and when he talks, he has a very hoarse voice. I think it's because he has an extremely sore throat. Yeah, poor kid. But he will be better in about 2 days. Okay, thank you, Chiron. No problem, Annabeth. Please try your best to comfort him. I will, Chiron. Bye, Annabeth. Great dialogue. When I got back to the cabin where Percy is, he looked worse. Then I heard him have a coughing fit. I ran to him and patted his back, and he stopped, sniffled, and sneezed. What, does he have a fever? Does he have a sore throat? Does he have a cold? What? Does he have all three? When Percy went to sleep, I grabbed the thermometer and put it in his mouth. When I pulled it out, it read 104.6. Very specific temperatures. So me critiquing a fanfic that has clearly been written by someone much younger than me feels a little hypocritical because I did write a fanfic about the Percy Jackson universe when I was in 9th grade. And yes, I have read it and I have shared it. Click the link. It's very cringy. But at least it's better written than this. I feel like all of the fanfics that I'm reading for this series, when I read a fanfic a month, are worse than the ones that I wrote. So let me know if 9th grade me was better than all of these Wattpad writers. I did upload it on Wattpad myself, so I guess I am technically a Wattpad writer, but I still have some dignity, so I'm never gonna call myself that. Moving on to chapter 6. I was woken up by Annabeth shaking me, saying, "Percy, you have a really high temperature. That is not good. Here's an ice pack to at least help it." He nodded very weakly and put it on. Then he fell asleep, and so did I. The next day I saw Percy looked up a little better. "Hey, Percy, wake up." No, sleep. "Okay, I'm going to see how things is going, okay?" He nodded, then went back to sleep. And then I walked to Chiron's quarters, and so he was smiling. Literally, Percy is being a very passive character. He's just like, yes. All he does is nod, sleep, and cough. I asked, "Why are you smiling?" "Because the machine is working successfully, and Percy should be better by today." I smiled and said, "Thank you, Chiron." He nodded and said, "My pleasure." I ran to the cabin where Percy was, and when I got inside, I saw he was awake and smiling. When I woke up, it felt a lot better. I guess they were cleaning the sea up. Then I saw Annabeth. I ran into my cabin, and I smiled. She looked at me, and I got up, then walked to her and gave her a hug, saying, "Thank you." She smiled and said, "My pleasure." Annabeth has literally... Nope, I finished reading that. Annabeth has literally done nothing. But Percy's like, oh, MVP. I guess she did tell Chiron he was sick, but that's it. And this author just keeps jumping from one point of view to the other in the same line without giving us any kind of hint. And then it's just like, I, he, she. I'm like, which one is it? What are you? Who are you? This fanfic feels really empty to me because what happened? I thought this was going to be a hurt comfort fanfiction, but it was just, okay, so Percy is very stubborn. He wakes up sick. He has some kind of seasickness that really adds to the lore and could be interesting, but it's never explored. Then it's just him sleeping, someone coming into the room, taking his temperature, him waking up, nodding weakly, going back to sleep, and then Annabeth talking to Chiron and Chiron magically solving all their problems. But that's it. We don't get any cute Annabeth-Percy interaction. We don't get Grover. Like, what is the purpose of this? That's why I'm confused. I thought it was going to be Annabeth, like, wiping sweat from his brow, making him chicken soup, I don't know, doing something to comfort him. When it said that Annabeth fell asleep in the same room, in the same cabin as Percy, I thought, oh, maybe they're gonna wake up tangled up together and be like, oh my god, we snuggled while we slept, but no, there was none of that. So I'm just confused. Why does this fanfic exist? What was the author trying to achieve? But I think I might be looking too deeply into it. So please leave a like if you like this video, comment down below if you like this fanfiction, and if you have any others that you want me to read in the future, please subscribe if you haven't already. Click that bell button to get notifications every time I make a new video. I make videos just like this every single Friday, and I guess I'll see you guys next time. Bye!